Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Luca, and this is a 126-2 on the map Raid, because basically I knew that you guys were pretty starved for Raid gameplays. There haven't been a lot of those on YouTube, so I figured I would upload this and, you know, give you guys a little bit of a treat, give you guys something you haven't seen very often, a Raid gameplay, a Raid 100+. No way, right? But yeah, anyways, guys, my class setup in this game is a PDW with Silencer and Stock. I have Ghost and Hardline in the first tier slot, Scavenger in the second tier slot, and then in the third tier I have Tac Mask. So that's a fairly standard setup for me. Also I have a C4 and a concussion grenade. So that's fairly standard for me. 4 perks, 2 attachments, and then C4 and concussion. Sometimes I'll do 5 perks, 1 attachment, and no concussion grenade. And then sometimes I'll do just the 3 perks and I'll throw on 3 attachments. It's kind of all up in the air. And if you guys watch my channel, if you're subscribed to me already and you're seeing this video over on Logic, or if you're not subscribed to me, what I usually talk about in a lot of my videos on my own channel is basically about how you want to experiment with the Pick 10 system. It's very versatile. You can use a lot of different setups, and even the smallest changes can really help you out. So it's definitely wise to try out new setups, even if you don't think it's going to be a good idea, just to figure out what works best and what doesn't, and then you can kind of hone in from there and kind of by process of elimination figure out what works best for you. So that's kind of what I've been doing with the PDW. I've really experimented with using, like I said, 5 perks, 4 perks, 3 perks, and with this gun, because it has so much ammo already, you don't need extended mags. It has a fairly quick reload, so I found that I don't really need fast mags. And honestly, I mean, I usually generally use a suppressor, so I don't really want to use a long barrel or anything. I've tried this with laser sight and silencer, and that works out pretty well for me. But I decided to change it up a little bit as well. I put on this stock in this game, which I generally don't use on SMGs. I always use it on my assault rifles. I can't play with an assault rifle without stock. But with the SMGs, it already has a pretty good amount of strafing involved with them. So you generally don't need stock, but I decided to use it, and I do enjoy it. I do like it. But I might stick to either my 5 perk setup where I can use Engineer and Tac Mask to kind of prevent all those Betty deaths and all those deaths from stuns and flashes and things like that. Or I might stick with the laser sight and the suppressor, just so that when I get into those hip fire situations, because I do like to hip fire often, I don't have to worry about, you know, my bullets just going everywhere but the guy that's standing 2 feet in front of me. So that's enough about the class setup. I don't know why I just went on that huge rant about the class setup, but I guess the moral of the story, if you're still even paying attention, if you still care what I'm talking about, the moral of the story is experiment with the Pick 10 system, figure out what works best for you, use kind of a process of elimination to figure out what works best, what doesn't, and then kind of hone in from there until you find that perfect setup for you. And that would be my recommendation, and so far I've been getting closer and closer as the days go by to that perfect setup. So I've also been thinking a lot lately about when I call in my streaks. So the first thing and the most important thing that I've kind of realized about my own gameplay is that I call in my VSAT to ensure that I get myself to my dogs and my swarm, which is not a big deal. That I agree with, that I think I should be doing. And it's been working out well for me. I want to obviously ensure that I get my streaks, because those streaks will then help me get to my next VSAT and the cycle will continue. So that I don't have a problem with. But what I have found is a problem in my own gameplay is that I call in the VSAT right away. And then generally, very shortly after I call in the VSAT, I get my dogs and swarm. And then when I get my dogs and swarm, I call them in immediately, no matter how much time I have remaining on the VSAT. And that basically ruins the rest of the time that the VSAT is up, because then your entire team knows where they are, your swarm is killing them, your dogs are killing them. So not only are you fighting your dogs and your swarm to get kills, but then you're also fighting your own teammates, and you end up just getting screwed out of kills, and you can't really start cycling through with gun kills again. You have to rely solely on your streaks, and then your VSAT's over, and you might end up dying because you don't have the VSAT up anymore. So what I've been thinking is when I get dogs in swarm, I hang on to them and I finish out the VSAT. And then once the VSAT ends, that's when I call in my dogs in my swarm. So that way I can get a few extra kills, start cycling through, maybe get halfway to my next VSAT, and then by the time my dogs in my swarm are over, I should be already at my next VSAT. And that makes a lot of sense to me, and what I was basically doing was using my VSAT for a quarter of it or for half of it, and then for the other half, it was basically worthless. I knew where they were, but I couldn't get any kills because my team and my dogs and my swarm were killing them all. So that was the first thing I've been thinking about, and I think that's the biggest change that I can make in going for these high-scoring gameplays. And then the second thing that I've been thinking about is whether or not I should call my dogs and my swarm in at the same time. And I've always done that. I've always called them in at the same time. And I know a lot of people in watching other YouTubers have been saying that you should call them in separately because otherwise they fight for the same kills. And that made sense at first, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, no, because my initial instinct was that if you call in a swarm, nobody on the enemy team, if they're even staying in the lobby, wants to be outside. They're going to immediately run to somewhere with a roof. And so it's going to limit how many kills your swarm can get because they're all camping indoors. So what I do is I call in my dogs, the dogs flush them out of the buildings, and then the swarm kills them as they respawn outside. So it's kind of a good 1-2 punch. So that's been my strategy. I'm going to be sticking with it, and it's obviously been working out for me. So hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay, and I'll talk to you later.